My name is Suzanne Hart, and my leap was when I had the courage to quit my job.
Welcome to Leap. My name is Shireen Francis, where we're inspiring entrepreneurs to take a leap in business and life. Today we have Suzan Hart with us, who is an international speaker and master trainer and has shared the stage with Jack Canfield, Robert Allen, and John Gray. She is a powerful Black woman millionaire who inspires and teaches men and women to be recognized for their value and compensated for their brilliance. Please welcome Suzan Hart to the show.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be
Me
here.
too.
I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. It felt like forever. Like our conversation off set was very magical, and I was like, whoa, like this woman, people need to hear her. So I'm really excited to have you here and to interview you and to hear your story, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching are going to be just so inspired to take action, not to just, oh my gosh, she's great, but just to take action, right? And this is what it's all about. So
for sure.
Yeah. So, tell us about your leap. Tell us about, the lead up to leaving your job. What was happening in your life?
Oh my goodness. It's interesting because I was living right here in Toronto. Mm-hmm. My background is family, individual, and group counseling. And at that time, I was managing probably one of the largest drop-ins in the downtown core of the city of Toronto. And it's a location that provides amazing service for women who are homeless, mm-hmm. women who have addictions issues, women who have mental health mm-hmm. issues, and choose not to medicate. So you can imagine, wow. A high population in this small space. Yeah. And I loved it, but at that time, the intensity and the stress of that job began to take a toll on my health, right? So I would go to work every day, 1 hour in traffic there, 1 hour in traffic back, work overtime in this intense situation. Mm-hmm. And I was more and more and more tired. The crazy thing for me was I was considered the top of my game. I was supposedly doing very well. And I was upside down financially. We had one point we had a lien on our house. We had credit card debt totaling 50 plus. That's when I stopped counting, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And
I was like, when you're
like you did, like I just don't even want to look anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I was frustrated. And I remember I would lay in bed and not want the next day to come.
Wow.
Because I didn't have an answer. Wow. And not only was I frustrated, I was pissed off and I was ashamed. And my shame came from having 7 years of post-secondary education, having climbed that proverbial ladder, considered at the top of my game, have the house, the car, the kids, the whole bit.
Right.
And if you looked behind the proverbial iron curtain, not so good.
So you did everything right. And yet you were still, behind in this mask. Everything looked glamorous on the outside, but on the inside, in terms of
I was a hot mess.
Yeah, hot mess.
Hot mess. And you're right. I did everything right, and in my mind, because when you're younger, you were taught go to school, get a great education, go to work in your chosen profession, and excel. And so that's what I did.
Right.
To find myself exhausted and nowhere where I wanted to be. Wow. And you ever, I had that moment where I woke up and it was like, you stop running and you realize, I don't like this life. Wow. This is not what I planned on. And I think the biggest thing was I realized I had stopped dreaming. right?
Yeah.
I was becoming resigned
Yeah.
because I didn't see an answer, nor did I see a way out.
Right. Wow. And so I could imagine the emotional turmoil that was happening because you didn't really have the answers yet. There was all this. So when did this change for you? What was the turning point? What was the wake-up call? Where did the answer come from for you?
I think I got to a point where the pain of where I was was worse than the pain of anywhere else in my mind. And I think my biggest learn was sometimes we think we have to have the answer.
Yeah.
I've learned that we just need to make a decision for something different.
And what was that decision?
I just decided that I was going to seek out something different, and I started working on me.
What would your advice be to those people that they know they're in the situation where they are, overwhelmed, health, financially, and I'm assuming this would obviously spill into relationships as well because of the stress. They know they got to decide and step forward, but they don't see it. They're afraid of failure. What was it that alleviated that for you or allowed you to let go of that?
That's a great question. I think the first thing for me was really beginning to realize that I had to take responsibility for my life, and that I had given my responsibility over to my boss, pay me more because I want more, to my husband at the time, manage our finances because I'm not all that educated on that. I had given my responsibility over to all these different people. So my first step was to begin to work on me, right? And to empower and inspire myself to get new information, because the mind that created the place I am at is not the mind that's going to set me free. So I usually say the leader shows up before the money, the leader shows up before the success, the leader shows up before the next level of anything in your life. So I had to begin to work on me. So that was the first thing I started doing. The second thing I started asking myself was, what is it that I want? And believe it or not, my journey started with $500 extra. Right? I wanted $500 extra. And I wanted it not from a job. And so I went to work on creating $500 extra so that I can take my family on vacation free and clear. And so I just went after doing that. And then it was, wow. So then it was, I have a vision of something else, and I went after doing that. And what I began to realize was, as I had more and more little successes, they built me internally. They built my confidence, they built my self-worth, they built my belief in what was capable, and then I was willing to take bigger leaps, if you will. And as I took each leap, it actually had me become stronger. Right? So what I realized I was doing was, when I was waiting for the world to change and give me something, more income, a better job, I had given my control to out there.
To everyone else.
The minute I said, you know what, I am going to take a leap of faith. I am going to do something. I took my control back. In other words, I took my power back. And what I realized is that power truly lives inside you and me, right? And it is the thing that comes from experience. It comes from when you fail, get back up, and win, right? You become more confident in your competencies. It comes from trying something new and seeing it through till the end and realizing, oh, I could do that. And it's in those moments that we each have the ability to uncover this power of our brilliance. Right? And my brilliance, your brilliance, and each level of it. So my commitment and your commitment, because I'm getting to know you, is to meet the next best version of myself or yourself every day. And that next best version lives outside this place that has us comfortable. It lives just beyond our fear, right?
So in, you know, even in those moments where, you know, the decision and then the step and then the leap, you're feeling that, because you're right, it's out of your comfort zone. And is it okay though? Because I ask you this question because I was in conversation with someone and they were saying sometimes if it doesn't feel right, you don't jump into something or you don't move forward. You got to go with your feeling. And then yet again, I was like, well, if it doesn't feel like it, might be because you're not coming out of your comfort zone. So how does one know that it's the right step? How does one know, like your leap was out, you know, quit your job and go into this, right? How do we know that this is right and this is our time?
That's a, oh my gosh, that's a money question.
A money question.
Okay, so this is the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Most people, you know, she said if it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Right? A feel right comes from here, right? A think right comes from here. So most people say that it doesn't feel right and they're actually thinking about it. Right? I can't think it through. I can't see the answer. I can't see the full road. And so they go, it doesn't feel right. But actually what it is, they can't think it through.
Right.
Right.
And so that's why it doesn't feel right.
That's why it's not really feeling.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I can't think it through.
Right.
So they say it doesn't feel right.
Right.
But I know that when I sit in the stillness of my morning and I wait to see if it feels right, I always know here. Now, what I've done in the past is I've felt it and I'm like, oh no. That's big.
Right.
Ooh, it doesn't matter if I feel it here.
Right.
My thinking goes to work and it goes, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Right.
Because my intuition and my gut is always pretty well bang on. I tell people that's God speaking to me, right? I download it and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Could we just start a little small? No. This was what you got delivered, right?
Yeah.
And so most of us think ourselves out of something and say it doesn't feel right. When we actually know it does. Right? So there's a difference. So I get totally what you're asking.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Wow.
Right? And that's why, you know, after the fact we go, oh, I knew I should have done that.
Yes.
It's all here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had a feeling about that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And what we don't admit is I thought myself out of it.
Right.
I had an internal conversation with myself
Yeah.
about it being uncomfortable or
Yeah.
bigger than I want to stretch,
Right.
and I dismissed it.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
wow, that's powerful. So how are you now, because I know you have a large team and you're inspiring people and teaching people about tapping into that brilliance and, you know, really being compensated for that brilliance within, which is really, you know, numberless, right? How are you empowering people today? What are you doing today? How can one get connected to you? Because I'm sure there are many people that are like, I just need a, you know, just I want to hear more. I want to really get in touch with this woman.
Absolutely. I think for me, there's two things I'm truly passionate about. I'm truly passionate about really people living life by their design, right? And I think when I say life by their design, we all know what jazzes us. We all know what we're passionate about.
Right.
We all do. Yeah. And I truly believe that if I've been gifted an idea, I wouldn't have received it if I didn't have the capacity to fulfill on it.
Yeah.
Right? So it really is, I'm passionate about people really just trusting their gift, their brilliance.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about people embracing their health and embracing their health as the foundation for everything that they want.
Yes.
So if someone works with me, the first thing we look at is how's your health. Then I'm really excited about people understanding that wealth is theirs to create, and I truly believe that wealth is truly our responsibility. Wealth is equal to my expansion, my growth, right?
Yes.
When I am touching many lives,
Yes.
I get compensated, but I'm actually getting compensated because I've touched lives. I've served many, right? So for me, it is really being able to understand how can I take my gifts, my talents, the things I value, and be of service. How can I take those things and inspire people? to be more and do more. And for me, I think that there's a process for that. Yeah. There's a system for that. Mm-hmm. And I just love helping people uncover how to do that for themselves. You know, I truly believe that we're all brilliant.
Yeah. Yes.
I believe that we're all special. And I think that we're all unique. And when I say unique, mm-hmm. is that what you were meant to bring to the world, mm-hmm. only Shireen can bring. Right? What I am meant to bring to the world, only I can bring.
Yes.
And I truly believe the world is waiting.
Yes.
So if you think the world's waiting, yeah. I want to chat with you. I want to talk to you.
That's
right?
amazing. Good.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your passion and what you've brought. I'm sure some people have been awakened or encouraged from this. And I'm really grateful for you to be here with us. And, you know, let's just thank her for being here. So you've just been incredible.
Thank you. And thank you for what you do.
Oh, yes.
Because, you know, it is so key that we set examples, yes. right? Yeah. And you are truly being an example, setting an example, and inspiring. And I think it's we all act through those who inspire us.
Yes.
So thank you for being a source of inspiration.
You're welcome, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Big hugs. Hi, my name is Shireen Francis, and I'm the host of the Leap TV show. We're looking for sponsors and advertisers that are looking to get more exposure for their business. Contact us today, and we'll have you as a sponsor or advertiser for our season. Supersize your business, right? Welcome to Leap. My name is Shireen Francis. We're inspiring entrepreneurs to take a leap into business and life. Today we have Greg Turner today, who is an award-winning author and the founder of Supersize Your Business, a marketing agency that helps businesses generate leads online and convert those leads into customers. He is a loving father and husband and passionate about helping businesses find their superpower and supersize that online. Please welcome Greg to the show.
Thank you for having me, Shireen.
You like that?
I love that intro.
That's awesome. Awesome. So glad to have you on the show. Yeah, so I know where are you originally from, by the way?
I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
awesome. So you came to Canada, and what was coming to Canada like?
It was tough.
Yeah.
You know, the coming here, not seeing snow. Well, I saw snow maybe 2 years before that when I visited.
Yeah.
But I've never really experienced the winter before, so that was challenging.
Yeah.
And then there's the social networks. Like growing up in Kingston, I knew so many people, and my phone book was full. I could call someone for anything that I want.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I didn't know anyone.
Wow.
And that was tough. I mean, I had a few friends, which is great,
Yeah.
that I met before I came here.
Yeah.
But you know, it was really tough, especially during like holiday periods and so forth. Not having my friends that I'm used to being around.
Yeah. So you came up by yourself. So you came to Canada by yourself.
I came up. My dad was here, so
okay.
it was so only family members was my dad, and so you know that was my family, and I have a baby brother at that time. But he's not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
But you know that was it. So
wow. So here you are coming to Canada. You know, just finished school, and I know you were entrepreneur, but by heart, but you weren't always an entrepreneur. You went into corporate. Can you tell us how that transition from working corporate and then jumping into entrepreneurship happened for you?
Sure. When I came here, I had a degree, and I said, okay, computer science degree, let's get a job. Mm-hmm. You know, and that was a start for me. I started off working in like call centers and stuff like that, and for me, corporate was always about getting experience, knowing how business works from the inside, because I've never had that before. Right. But it was all about learning and then using those lessons, seeing how things work to supersize my own business. Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the the goal, like the ultimate goal for me.
Yeah.
And I like corporate, but there's a lot of things that I learned in corporate as well that I just knew that it wasn't where I can spend my entire career.
Okay.
So for example, you know, like I'm a part of the millennial generation, and one of the things that I noticed or I learned really early on was that there's no security. You know, the
You
pensions.
sure the regular paycheck? No, that you can't.
Oh
what?
no, there's nothing
Oh,
riskier than
darn.
working for one person.
Yeah.
It's totally risky.
Yeah.
And I saw from my own experiences seeing people who worked at a company for 30 something years. I worked at a company and there are people there that worked there since they were 18 years old.
Wow.
And now they're like almost 60.
Wow.
And they were getting walked out, and they were walking out in tears.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, that was an eye opener for me.
Wow.
Because
and it's so good that you saw that early, because it right.
Yeah,
wow.
definitely.
Yeah.
I saw that early, and it was I like to learn from others' experience,
yeah.
so I don't have to go through it myself.
Yeah.
And you know, it opened my eyes to the fact that, you know, these are the folks who had the security. They had like good pensions and whatnot, and they
right.
left with good pensions,
Right.
better than what we can get today
Yeah.
in the job market.
Right.
And they still felt like they had nothing, and they had nothing
Wow.
left, right?
After all those years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, you know, here you are as a young man in the corporate world, and you're witnessing, you know, how corporate works. You're still learning, and, you know, you figured out it just wouldn't work for you. It works for somebody, some people, but not for you.
Yeah.
And so, when did you know it was your time to go and leap into business? And why was it digital marketing that you started with? What did you do?
Sure. So the funny thing about business is we have ideas about what it is that we want to do, and we have a map in our head, like this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen. It never happens like that. Right. It always, you know, circumstances change. The market tells you something different than what you were expecting to hear, and so, you know, that's just how life is, really. It's unpredictable, but you just have to kind of learn from it, and then pivot and figure out, okay, what do I do next, right? So for me, it was after I got married, and this is when I was like, okay, Greg, it's time to get real. Right? And for me, it was that moment where I said, you know, it's time to do the things that I really know deep in my heart that I need to do. And so I started off in a multi-level marketing company, and a colleague of mine, who's friends with a good friend of mine, said, hey, what's Greg doing? Like, I have something that he may be interested in, if he's interested in business. And so, you know, we met, we discussed a few things, and then we started working together. And we started a company at the time called Branded Well. And it didn't work out, but at the same time, it opened so many doors, so many opportunities. And it's led me to the point where I am today, where, you know, I have Supersize Your Business. I have a team that I'm working with, a great team, and you know, that's where it started for me. Like, at that point where I got real, I said, you know, I need to do what deep down in my heart I know is right for me. Like, this is why I got into business, why I even started working in the first place. It was all about, let's create something great.
Wow. So that's awesome. So you managed to, you know, work out, get the helping hands that you needed. And I'm also glad that you didn't stop after your first business, because for a lot of people, the first business doesn't quite work out, but it led to opportunities and other, you know, great things. So now you're doing amazing things. You're an award-winning author of a great book. Can you tell us how you came to write that book, and, you know, how Supersize Your Business came about?
Sure. So, Supersize Your Business. So the book itself, it wasn't even, I wouldn't say it wasn't premeditated, but at the same time, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I went to one event, and someone was speaking about how being an author helps you to stand out in your business. And, you know, in my gut, it sounded right, but my mind said, okay, you know what? That's interesting. Maybe it's not for me. I went to another event, and it was a different speaker,
Yeah.
and they made the same points again. And then I noticed that this has to be a sign. Like,
Yeah.
I have to take action.
Yeah.
So at the time, it was a big commitment because it was a course, so they're teaching you how to write a book.
Yeah.
And it was a few $1,000s. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna, really
Yeah.
step up and pay this money, and now I'm committed.
Yeah.
So I called my wife and I said, babe, I'm gonna be doing this. So
And she was like, yes, it's okay.
like, okay, what if you feel it's right,
Yeah.
go ahead, right?
Right,
So
right.
so it was kind of like my like a moment where I said, let's run this by someone else.
Right.
My partner, of course, in life. So I said, let's run this by my wife,
Yeah.
and see what she said. And
Yeah.
she didn't have any objections.
Yeah. And
So I was
then
like,
you just
okay,
went right
I
in
had to
and
go.
you wrote your book.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then now it's a great book, and I love what you're doing in the marketplace, and you're helping business owners really, make things really, put themselves out in a big way, just
Right.
like how you're doing right now. So
Yeah.
is there any way that someone can get in contact with you so that they can, if they're looking to grow their business
Sure.
in a big way, how would someone reach out to you?
Okay, so my website is supersizeyourbusiness.ca,
Yeah.
and now I've moved on from the book. So the book was the first stage,
Yeah.
where it's there to educate you about how to use online marketing to
Yeah.
help your business. So
Yeah.
how to use the internet,
Yeah.
generate leads, and turn that into profits for your
Nice.
business. And then the next stage was, okay, now that I've written about it, let's help people to do it. So
Right.
then that's how the marketing agency came about.
Right.
And now supersizeyourbusiness.ca is all about education, so online education. So
Nice.
if you have a business or you're starting a business,
Yeah.
there's education about how to go from 0 to 100,000,
Wow.
and then 100,000 to 1,000,000 and beyond. So there's courses there that can help you, because
That's
at the end of the
amazing.
day, this is why I got into business. It
Yeah.
was to make an impact.
Wow.
And I believe that, the fact that they say most entrepreneurs don't have success, or I don't remember what the stats is, but
Yeah,
like it's a
it's
high
very
percentage
high, I
of
think,
failure.
yeah.
Let's cut that down,
Yeah.
right?
Only
Let's
1
have
in
people
5 will
Yeah.
succeed in business.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get that number,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
get more success in
Yeah.
business. Let's
Wow.
help others to supersize their business.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's-
amazing.
yeah.
Thank you for that. I think that's incredible, especially for a lot of people that might be viewing right now that are just like you, and they're still in the corporate area, or they're working a job that they're like, I really just want to go out there. Having resources such as what you're providing is going to be a great way for them to avoid the mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs might experience and have a lot more success. So thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
on
for
the
having
show,
me.
Greg. It was a pleasure. Let's just give him a warm thank you. And very happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a great experience. Thank you.
You're welcome.